Hello everyone, and welcome to the next installment of my writing vlog series for my fantasy novel Amnesty's Enemy. For now, at least, I am trying to upkeep that promise I made in the last vlog to actually update a little more regularly and say something more than just, I wrote some words. Life happened. Life continues to happen, so progress might be slow, but I do want to try and actually make this a little more interesting and informative. So, since my last vlog, I've written somewhere in the vicinity of 700 words. I haven't actually been counting, but I did solve a plot problem. So effectively, the story starts with Dayan seeking amnesty from the clan, basically going, please don't kill me, adopt me instead. And they go, not gonna adopt you, but we're not gonna kill you, prove your worth. And then as the first few chapters progress, he is sort of slowly making progress of fitting in, of pulling his weight within the clan, but there is still a great level of distrust and no one really likes him, which is fair enough because he's from a warlike country who's been rampaging and pillaging and everything, who are actually a threat to the clan folk and their way of life. So it's understandable, no one's really being a dick, except for Tom, but he's constantly a dick. For legitimate reasons, but still a dick. Anyways, one of the glaring, not plot holes, because I knew what needed to happen, I just didn't know how, is that I needed Dayan to do something, for lack of a better term, heroic. I needed him to do something that would really take him from being accepted but disliked to actually being genuinely accepted. So he needed to do something selfless, something that might put himself in danger, you know, one of those things, like running into a burning building to save a child, that sort of thing. Only that's not a realistic scenario for the book and how these people behave. So I've been beating my head against that particular brick wall for a while of trying to figure out what can Dayan do, and also it has to be something where Dayan is the best person to do it, because there has to be a logical reason why he is the person to rescue the kid from the burning building, because why couldn't someone else do it? And so I was working on continuing a chapter and it just happened. So I was writing a bit of Dayan goes foraging in the forest with a group which consists of two other younger people and then a much older man who's, you know, very much a botanist, very keen on plants and animals and nature and all of that. And I had this older man sort of being Dayan's first friend. And then as soon as that started going, and I'm like, he's old, they're friends, duh, I need to make the old man get sick or injured or something and have Dayan be the one to nurse him back to health. Seems pretty obvious, but I hadn't thought of it until now. And then I was looking up, well, what kind of, you know, I don't want to have a plague come through the clan or something like that, because then everyone would have it. I didn't want the old man to, like, be dying from cancer or something, because also Dayan wouldn't be the most appropriate person to give him care. You know, like, I didn't want it to be terminal, I just wanted it to be dangerous. So I was thinking and thinking, and I'd already written in that this clan has a small herd of goats, and so I went on to trusty old Google and I'm like, what diseases can goats give to humans? And turns out there are a bunch of sort of bacterial, I think, ones that can be spread when a goat is giving birth, and any of those fluids come in contact with a human. That is a common way for certain diseases to be spread. And I'm like, duh, this guy, I've already established him as a botanist, can establish him as a bit of an animal expert too. One of the goats is having a difficult delivery, he assists, he gets horribly ill. Obviously the clan wouldn't leave someone to suffer, they would get their witches to try and work healing magic and stuff, but in a sense this is a society where everyone is pretty busy, but Dayan, finding himself, other than fulfilling whatever day-to-day duties he has to do, he's at loose ends, so he will spend every minute he can with this guy just to be there for the poor sick old guy, and I'll potentially work in something like, you know, old guy takes a massive turn and is about to die in the middle of the night and Dayan does some CPR or, you know, some kind of fantasy equivalent. But yeah, I was really happy to finally have a way out of that situation, because it had been bugging me for ages that I hadn't been able to think of an appropriate sort of problem for Dayan to overcome, and I found one completely organically. It fits in with a lot of what I was already doing, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I haven't, as I said, put that many words down. I've got about like 700 words, but I know where that chapter is going, and I know how that will influence events going forward, so I'm really, really happy. And yeah, I hope you liked getting a bit more of a more detailed look at some of this, because yeah, I'm trying to do good for you guys. But yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next update. It has been an incredibly long-ass time since my last update, and that is because nothing has happened, at least in terms of working on this novel. Today, however, I held the first writing group. I normally call them writing days, but it's really only 3 hours, so it's not really a day. But anyway, held the first writing group meeting via Zoom since moving down to Tasmania. We've been down here for about 3 months, almost 4 months at this point. And so yes, instead of having my writing group in person, had it via Zoom, and it was really, really good. As is usual for me on writing days, I did jump between various projects. Today I worked on Amnesty's Enemy, a magical realism which now has a working title, which is The Other Side of the Shadows, and also on a fanfiction piece. So I did bounce between all of those, but for Amnesty's Enemy, I wrote 434 words, and I'm pretty happy with that. I have not really touched it in any significant way for, well, since the last update for this. I've written a sentence here and there, but I haven't really properly done anything, so it was really, really good to sort of break the ice and get back into that. Also, the great thing about having writing days via Zoom is I can stay in my pajamas because it is really, really cold, so I'm wearing this hoodie that is like a blanket, and yes, all in all, good day. Nothing really to tell you about except for the fact that I am writing again and it feels good. So it's been a while. A long while. And I'm at the point where I'm not making excuses, it is what it is. I ain't promising it's not gonna happen again, because it probably will. But I do have some news on this project. So after letting things sort of lie fallow for a bit, I realised something that was tripping me up. And that is that I started the book off wrong. I didn't have enough conflict with Dayan coming into the clan. He was basically like, please don't kill me, and they're like, okay, we won't kill you. Don't kill any of us and you can join us. Which, no. I realize that's not realistic. I mean, it's fantasy, it doesn't have to be realistic, but that doesn't make much sense, and it also removed a lot of avenues for conflict between the 3 main characters. So, I went ahead, deleted the first half of the first chapter so I could rewrite it, and inserted 3 other chapters, so one from the POV of each of the main characters. So ultimately, the book is now going to be 30 to 32 chapters, which is, I have some notes here, 90 to 98,000 words. Give or take, it's all sort of, it'll be as long as it needs to be, but that's what the forecast is looking at now. Everything has really been coming together since I made that cut. So when I cut out those sections, I did save them, like I copied the document and saved that as a backup, so I haven't actually deleted everything. So I cut it down, after I cut that stuff out, it was 36,700 words. I have done some writing since then, so it's now up to 37,450-ish, and I will be stopping this video when it hits 40,000. The best thing for Amnesty's Enemy at the moment has been that I have finally started doing my writing days on a regular basis. So even though I work generally on multiple things then, me and one of my friends are collaborating in particular on a magical realism story where we bounce it back between each other. The fact is, having the writing day once a month means that I do actually have dedicated writing time. And having done this rejig of the beginning, it's made things fall into place. It's a lot easier to write at the moment, which is telling me that I did make the right decision. Hopefully for the next bit of this video I can actually film some actual writing progress or tell you something more, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know about that restructure and how much of the right decision it was. Yeah, it's me again. Once again, it has been absolutely forever since I updated this vlog, and again, no promises that it won't happen again. 2025 turned out to be kind of freaking crazy, and while certain things have continued, such as doing the monthly writing groups, this has not been a priority by any stretch of the imagination, but I've kind of gotten pissed off at myself for letting things get so bad, so I thought I'm just gonna sit down and crack out the last of the words I need to do to get this to 40,000 words. Currently I'm at 39,418, which is up from, I think I said I was at 36,000 after I'd done the cuts earlier. That definitely was the right way to go. It has continued to be easier to write, I just haven't really done it. But hey, I've gotten about 3,000 words done by just writing in dribs and drabs, and now I'm going to try and get that last 600 done. No idea which part of the book I'm going to work on, so I'm just going to shut up, scroll, and see what happens. I drank some water and I spilled it all over myself. Trying to clean up. Also, I'm kind of clumsy and kind of a mess. I'll put a picture up because my, sorry, grabbing a tissue, which is actually just some toilet paper. Let me just wipe up the desk. I forgot I don't actually have a stand for this microphone, and it's been so long since I've done voiceovers. I don't remember what I did in the past, but right now my microphone is inside a high heel, which is on top of a book, which is sitting in front of me on the desk. So luckily I just spilled water on myself and not on the microphone, but yeah. Anyway, got about 100 words done in like 5-ish minutes, which is decent, and gonna keep hacking at it and drink more water and try not to spill it on myself this time. Okay, this chapter's a bit short. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with it. I can't have Tom freak out and run away again because he did that last time. I do like me some repetition, in case you haven't noticed. Guys, I gotta confess, this is the first time I've actually felt sympathetic for Tom. Like, he's set up to be the foil against the sort of what will be the romantic subplot with Dane and Nira, and that's an important role for the plot. But I've always kind of been like, he's just kind of a dickhead. He doesn't get that Dane's actually a nice guy. But when I just wrote this thing, like, Tom didn't have any reason to disagree. He didn't have any reason for anything anymore. Not if the clan said this were was not an enemy. They weren't safe. Nira wasn't safe here in the forest. I wrote that paragraph, and, you know, it's just words flow. But I'm just like, oh my gosh, so, he's panicking and disassociating, is what I wrote here. That is what's happening. He's falling into depression. And with a good reason, like, his home life is being an element of what he believes is danger is being introduced, and he and Nira are both traumatized at this point from what they went through in the wars. So it makes perfect sense that he's here, and he's not just freaking out about himself, he's freaking out about Nira's safety. And suddenly I just wrote this paragraph, not really intending it to be a character building moment, and now I'm just like, oh Tom, my precious baby, you know, let me take care of you. So yeah, I mean, I'm making writing sound like so, my writing process to sound so like unintelligent. I'm like, I don't know, I just put down words and stuff happens, but that's how I work. And yeah, I actually have sympathy for Tom at the moment. And I'm up to 39,735 words. It's been about 12 minutes since I last updated. So yeah, good. Should hopefully have this finished in like quarter of an hour. I should be hitting the 40,000 words again.
And we are done! Woot woot! So, took me about half an hour to write 600 words. That was pretty good. I actually ended up writing 626 to be exact. I like that. That has finished off chapter 2, so I have chapters 1 and 2 written. Chapter 3 is a complete blank with Nira. Chapter 4 is going to be... I've got a bit left in there, but it's going to be pretty janky because of how I've changed things that might all end up being deleted, so I might end up losing almost 800 words on that. But other than that, we're getting there. I don't know why I'm skipping through everything. That was probably giving you a headache. It kind of gave me a headache. So, there we go. Over the 40,000 word mark again, which feels absolutely freaking fantastic. I would like to say I'm going to work on this a bit more regularly. And for the first time in the past couple of years, things do actually feel somewhat stabilized enough that I have been writing a bit more than usual lately, and having the regular monthly writing group has helped. However, me being me, I have started yet another new collab project, this one with my girlfriend, so my priorities are elsewhere, but we shall see how we see. I have still enjoyed vlogging this process. I have still enjoyed vlogging this process, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. So, that's all for this vlog, and until next time, bye bye!